Digital A11Y Insights, your accessibility partner. Accessibility for all, technology for everyone.
My name is Raghavendra from digitala11y.com, and this is session 4. Last week we covered headings, we covered lists, we tried understanding the semantics, we learned a bit of screenshots, and in this session what we are going to cover is we're going to understand form controls, we understand text fields, radio buttons, date pickers within the HTML. We're not going to look into any of the custom components. First, we'll try to understand some of the basic HTML elements and understand how they work and how grouping of labels work, how labels work, how ARIA labels work, ARIA labeled by works. And any questions from last few sessions that we had before we get started? Okay.
No, Raghu.
There are no questions, then we'll just dive into this. So we already know that, web, we already decided that we'll go instead of checkpoint by checkpoint. We understand the core concepts, and the web is built with headings, images, lists, links, and forms. We covered headings, lists, and we learned basic screenshots of NVDA. Today we're going to learn forms. So we all fill forms on the internet, and we know most of the screen readers know how to interact with forms like radio buttons, checkboxes, text fields, and buttons. So we'll just dive into it and we'll understand how form fields, inaccessibility of form controls can lead to various problems and what failures we encounter while. I already have my HTML editor ready in WordPress, and I'm going to create a small form. First, we'll just create few text fields and see how they are read. So if you see here, I just created two text fields. I did not give anything to them. I did not give label or placeholder. Let's see how they behave first with screen reader. Edit page, expand toggle, undo document design, save draft, preview button, menu collapse, enter, menu, view options, preview, new tab, 1 enter, leaving menus, generating preview. There are no headings on this page. Test page, bullet, digital A11. Test page, heading level 1. Page, skip the content, same page link. Test page, heading level 1. Main region, author image link. Raghavendra Satish Peri link. Edit, text. Edit, type of text. Bullet 2.2, edit, type of text. Edit, type of text. So this is screen reader for you. Slower. So I did not delete the last week, as last Tuesday's semantic structures that we learned about lists. Edit region, list, main region, region, edit, type of text. It says type in text. Bullet 2.2, edit, type of text. It says bullet 2.2. This is bullet 2.2, edit, type of text. And JAWS screen reader on Firefox. Let's test the same thing with NVDA. Unloading JAWS, quick JAWS dialog, enter. Test page, bullet, digital A11Y, match Mozilla Firefox.
Welcome to OK button. Test page. Edit has autocomplete blank. Edit has autocomplete blank. Raghavendra Satish Peri link. Edit has autocomplete blank. Edit has autocomplete blank.
Did you observe that JAWS has picked up its own label? It said bullet 2.2 dot. So let's see where is the 2.2 coming from.
Edit has autocomplete blank.
I'm coming out of forms mode by pressing insert space here.
List with 2 items, list with 2 items, bullet 2.2.
That is the last list item in the
bullet 2.1, out of list bullet test 2. List with 2 items, bullet 2.1, bullet 2.2.
2.2 is the last.
Out of list edit has autocomplete.
After that, there is a text field. So that's why JAWS has picked the which is the nearest text and made it up as label. Often what happens is screen reader users, when they tab using JAWS, it picks up things. If they are not there, it just picks up the association from the nearest text and gives it to the form field. Because of that, don't think that form is labeled. Test it with NVDA on VoiceOver if you can, or inspect the code. By looking at the code, we know there is no label that we have provided.
Preview in new tab 1. Edit page test page digital A11.
So now what we'll do, we'll give label.
No next edit field. Out of menu main clickable HTML edit multi less slash di less input type less div greater line fee less label greater first space e less slash label greater less di less label greater first name less slash label greater less input type equals text greater line fee less label greater space last space e less slash label dot line feed dot l dot line feed greater less input less label greater last name less slash label greater less input type equals text greater.
So I gave labels to, I gave two labels. I opened a label tag here.
Less label greater last name less slash label greater less input less label greater first name less slash label greater.
Nothing fancy. We just opened the labels here. Okay.
Custom HTML block. Out of reach list redo document clickable save draft button. Preview menu button collapsed. Save draft saving. Test page bullet digital A busy. Test page bullet digital A11. Clickable main landmark. Breadcrumbs navigation. Author image. Raghavendra Satish Peri. Edit has autocomplete blank.
Said again edit.
Edit has autocomplete blank.
Again edit. But let's see with arrow keys what we hear.
Last name. Edit has autocomplete. Last name. Edit has first name.
So when you come with browse mode, you understand that first name, then you feel the edit, you can still fill it. As a screen reader user, for us, this is usable, correct? It is not perfectly accessible when you tap to it. But screen reader user, you also navigates a web lot with browse mode. We use only for form fields, we use tab key. And when something is not read out in the text field, we come and we check in the browse mode what is there. So now we know that this is first name and last name. Let's see how JAWS behaves now.
Run dial A JAWS 2020 exit NV.
JAWS. A11Y winning connect vertical bar Microsoft Teams calling controls toolbar. Test page bulletin 11Y match Mozilla Firefox edit. Test page digital 11Y visit link accessibility honors. Resources heading level 2. Services heading level 2. Main article edit type of text. First name edit type of text. Last name edit type of text. First name edit type of text. Last name edit type of text.
Did everyone observe? No. It picked up the label because that is the nearest thing. We did not still bind the label and the form field yet. We are yet to bind them.
Raghava, one request.
Yes.
Could you please throw down JAWS? I am unable to pick.
Oh, so yes.
Slower, slower.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Faster. First name edit type of text. Last name edit type of text. Info region list main region article region edit type of text. First name edit type of text. Last name edit type of text.
So it picked up the label from the nearest again for the text field. So now what we will do, we'll bind the label and we see JAWS and NVDA will become consistent now. Now we have seen without the label binding, JAWS is still able to identify it.
Edit page left quote escape. Screen updated. Edit page left quote add title edit paragraph block edit HTML edit contain space. Bottom of 5 less slash div greater. Less label greater. Less input type. Less label greater. Less div greater. Less label greater first name home less. First. Greater. Space. FOR. Equals. Quote. L. 1. Quote. Less input type equals quote home less. Type equals quote space. T. space, ID, equals, quote, L1, quote, 1, quote, greater.
So I have given FR and ID. So your
Slower.
this label is for this ID.
Less label for equals, quote, L1, quote, greater, first name, less slash label, greater. Less input type equals, quote, text, quote, ID equals, quote, L1, quote, greater.
Neha, you are following it, correct?
Yes, Raghu.
Okay. So anyone,
Here label,
yeah.
yeah, here label is associated with the form field.
Yes.
Using ID and for attribute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we have provided that relationship.
Yes.
Now what we'll do is we'll give the same thing for this one.
Less label, great, home, last, space, greater, space, FOR, equals, quote, L2, quote, less input type N, blank, greater, space, ID, equals, quote, L2, quote, escape, OPT cursor, edit page left, expand toggle, undo document design, save draft button, preview button, menu collapsed, save draft button, editor top bar, main region, article region, edit, type of text, title is test page, bullet,
Raghu,
digital
one
AF5,
question.
test
One minute.
page added region, 4 edit test,
Yes, please.
So when we tested first with NVDA, it was not identifying, and with this using the nearest and so how do we mark that it is not accessibility compliant, or how do we report when we are just sharing with developers?
I'll show that.
Okay.
Automation can catch when there is no relationship. So first I'm going to show all the screen reader behavior of now we are binding them, correct? Now we will
Mhm.
bind them, and once we have done binding the form fields, I will show how it will identify that they are not associated. Okay.
Okay.
test page, bullet, digital A11Y, search for colon, search for colon, search for first name, main region, first name, edit, type of text, last name, edit, type of text, first name, edit, type of text,
So now it is reading first name and last
last
name.
name, edit, type of text,
Okay, we are go with NVDA now.
Windows R, run dialog, type the N, D, E, A, unloading JAWS, quick JAWS dialog, enter, run dialog, type the name of the program, folder, document, or internet resource,
Welcome to NV. OK button. Test. Content info. Main landmark. Article. Last name edit has autocomplete blank. First name edit has autocomplete blank. Last name edit has autocomplete blank.
Now it is unified. Both JAWS and NVIDIA are picking. Now Neha asked a very interesting question. How do I know that it is not bound? Because screen reader is not consistent. If someone is using JAWS, it's picking it up. So they might not know. So for that, what we will do?
Edit page test page.
We'll
Editor content. Clickable paragraph block document editable. Clickable HTML. Less slash d. Less input type equals text ID equals L2 greater. Line feet greater. Quote 2. L2. Quote
I'm making 2 as 3.
3. 3. L3. Quote.
Actually, there is no ID for 3.
Out of edit. List. Redo. Doc. Clickable. Save draft button. Saving unavailable. Unavailable.
So what we'll do?
Test
Well,
page bullet.
we'll
Navigation
take the test
toolbar.
page.
HTTPS. Desktop. Start window. C. Level 1 Google Chrome. Desktop list. Taskbar pane focused. Desktop list. Pane drop. New tab Google Chrome. Toolbar. Address. Share this page. Digitala 11Y tablet. E. Digitala11y.com / page ID equals 26,000. Page not found bullet digital. Clickable.
Okay, I need to log in.
Toolbar. I unselect blank M. Blank. Slash W. P. Admins blank slash digitala11y.com. Log. Username or email address DITAA11Y. Password edit protected required. Star. Show remember login button. Log. Password edit protected required error. The username or password you enter. Username or DIGITAL1 blank. Password edit protected blank. Star. star, 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 star. Number lock on. Star. Show. Remember login button. Dashboard digital A.
Okay, logged in.
Toolbar. HDE. digitala11y.com/page ID equals 26. Clickable button scroll to top. Link skip to main landmark test page heading level 1. First name edit. Main landmark. Document. Edit blank. Content info. Main landmark. First name edit blank.
So we are here on first name. Yeah. If I come here,
edit blank.
it's at edit blank. But if JAWS is
Yeah.
picking up, you're specifically testing with JAWS, then we run Axe. Okay. So I'm taking Axe.
Okay.
Dev tools. Alert dev tools is main toolbar. Tab selected element. Toggle. Panels tab. Menu selected. Axe record. Axe tab. Axe alert catch more issues with frame nav. Sign in button. Main landmark dismiss button. Scan all of my page button. Analyzing your page. Test name heading. Test URL. Total issues heading level 2. Link total issues 2. List with 4 items automatic issues. Link automatic issues 2. Guided issues. 0.
So let's see.
Complementary landmark best practices switch on. You must save your test. Export button. Toggle collapse button expanded. Form elements must have labels 1 region. Form elements must have labels 1 button collapsed. All page content should be form elements
So I'll
expanded.
expand this.
Expand button expanded 1. Switch off highlight form elements button share issue form element list with 5 items button unavailable first issue form element button unavailable 1 of 1 button unavailable last issue form element number L3 heading level 3 element location link more information link ensures every form list with 5 items button unavailable out of list ensures every form element has a label.
So that is the description, Neha.
Link more heading level 3 element location number L3.
See, it says a number location is
L3.
L3, which is the ID we gave. You understood?
Yeah,
Button
got
inspect
it.
element form elements must have less input type equals text ID equals L3 greater.
You see here the code. This is the exact code we wrote, correct? That is the source.
Heading level 3 to solve this problem, you need to fix at least 1. List with 7 items bullet form element does not have an implicit, wrapped, less label greater.
So it tells you how to fix each of them.
But just by using JAWS, I mean navigating with JAWS, we will not able to identify. It should be like using
If you use NVDA, you will. NVDA will just
with
read them
JAWS
as
it will not.
JAWS. You only saw the difference.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
See,
Thanks.
you can't always just rely on screen reader because sometimes screen readers somehow adapt to the patterns also. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now, and this is
Test page.
You can just quickly check with tablets also.
Toolbar show extensions digital A11Y tablets has dialog table row 2 row 3 images row 4 forms row 5 headings toggle button not pressed.
If you
row
use
4
forms,
toggle button not pressed. Toolbar content info landmark main landmark less label cross mark no ID match greater last name less slash label greater less input ID button equals.
You see that, Neha? It read out.
Edit less label cross mark no ID match greater last name less slash label
No
greater
ID
less
match.
input ID button equals L3 edit less label 4 leaf clover equals L1 greater first.
So if you see that leaf clover, that is success. For us, it says cross match, cross mark.
Oh, that's the difference. Okay.
Yes.
Nicely done.
So for Srinivasu,
Yeah,
this is
it
helpful, much faster.
Yes, much faster for me.
Yes. For sighted people, it's much faster.
Yes.
This way.
It is nice, nicely written. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions still here?
No, good. I'm good, Raghav.
So now what? Sometimes you'll not have labels. You have something called placeholder. So placeholder is nothing but a small hint. According to HTML specification, it is a hint. Like let's just say we have first name here. it should say enter your first name. What happens is often people don't associate labels and they give, or they also remove placeholder. They also remove labels. You don't see the label. Okay, they use just placeholders. So we'll see how placeholders are there.
Desktop. Start. Out. Firefox. Test page bullet. Edit page. Test page. Out of read. Clickable HTML. Less input type equals text ID equals L. Line. Greater. Space. P L A C E A O F D E R. Equals. Quote. E F T E R. Space. L A S T. Space N A L E. Quote.
So I give placeholder as enter last name. So the attribute is
Name greater. Last. Enter. Place L3. Placeholder equals.
and in quotes I wrote enter last name.
Less label for less input type. Greater. Space.
Here
P A C E H O F D E R. Equals. Quote. E F T E R. Space F U L L E. Colon. Quote.
okay, I just
Less input type equals text ID equals L1 placeholder equals enter spelling error fuel name greater. Line feed name spelling error fuel spelling error U L out of spelling error full name greater.
okay, we are saving this.
Out of list undo redo doc clickable design save draft button saving tap test page bullet digital edit
I'm refreshing.
test page bullet digital a clickable mainland first name main landmark document first name edit enter full name blank enter last name edit blank.
People again will get confused that label is being read, but here placeholder is being read.
First name edit enter full name blank. Enter last name edit blank.
Neha, you understood the difference, Srinivas?
Yes.
So what also I can do is
Edit
sometimes this happens a lot.
Out of clickable paragraph block document edit clickable HTML. Less input type equals text ID less label for equals L2 greater last name less input type equals text ID less label for equals L2 less label for equals line feed less input type equals text ID equals L3 placeholder equals enter last name greater.
I removed the whole label.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of edit list undo redo document clickable auto save preview menu button saved button unavailable.
Okay, auto saved.
Test page bullet digital A. Test page bullet clickable banner landmark primary main landmark first name edit enter full name first name main landmark document first name edit enter full name blank enter last name edit blank.
I removed the label also. Neha.
Edit enter full name enter last name edit.
Everyone understood the concept of placeholder? It is supposed to be a hint. It can't be used as a label. It is supposed to be just a hint. You should have a label that is visible all the time. If it is not visible, let's just say
edit and first name.
This first name is visible all the time. Whereas
first enter last name edit blank. A-E-L-O.
Okay, we'll
Help
just
blank. E-R-I.
Peri.
First name edit enter R-A-A-A. Raghavendra. First name edit selected Raghav. Enter last name edit selected Peri. First name edit selected Raghav.
You see
enter
again?
last name edit selected Peri.
It read out the placeholder and it read it. But visually, can you see Srinivas?
Yes. Visually, I can't.
So what's the difference visually?
Visually, they don't see the text enter last name.
Correct. Yeah.
Now imagine there are 10 form fields with just placeholder. Before filling, they can see everything. But once they fill, they only see data. And if the data is similar, you will not know which is first name, which is full name, which is
Yeah.
correct email, confirm email, password, confirm password. So the label should be always there, visible. You cannot have the labels hidden and you can't use placeholder as a label. Is this concept clear?
Yeah. Understood. Yeah,
Neha, Pranita, Harshini.
Got it. Got it, Raghu.
Utej.
Yes, Raghav, got it.
Suresh? Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
Satish. Got it.
okay.
Sorry,
Yes, Raghav, clear.
Yeah. Good. So this is where you need to have a visible label, and you have to bind the label with its for using for and id. We saw one method which is for and id, correct? We'll use now aria label and see what happens. Okay.
Edit page test page digital A11Y WordPress editor content clickable paragraph block dot clickable HTML less input type equals text line greater line feed less input type less slash div greater less label for equals L2 greater last name less slash label greater less in line greater
So we are not able to now change this id, suppose, in our framework.
quote e quote greater
I
space
will just use
A number lock off dash LABEL equals quote LABBST space AME quote
I gave aria label as last name.
less input type equals text ID equals L3 placeholder equals enter last name aria label equals last name greater.
Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll see.
Navigation toolbar. Edit page test page digital. Test page bullet digital.
It gets picked up.
Test page bullet digital. Clickable banner landmark primary navigation navigate main landmark document last name edit enter last name blank. First name edit enter full name blank. Last name edit enter last name blank.
You see that it has associated the label. We used aria label. If we go to our tablets,
Toolbar shows extensions menu button sub menu. Digital A11Y tablets has access. Dialog. Table with 21 rows. Row 19 reset page. Out of row 4, row 5 headings toggle button. Row 6 tables toggle. Row 7 landmarks. Row 3 images toggle button. Row 2 aria usage. Row 4 forms toggle not pressed. Edit page test section. Block custom HTML document. HTML edit multi dialog. Toolbar test page bullet content info main landmark. Less label crossmark no ID match greater last name.
see again it says no ID match. Okay.
Less label crossmark no ID match greater last name less slash label greater less input ID button equals L3 greater.
Okay. Neha, here everyone screen reader users give lot of attention.
Edit enter full name. Less label 4 leaf clover equals L1 greater.
But tablet said the bookmarklet said it did not find because it did not do the ID match. For with ID match. Okay. But it will do the aria thing. So let's see aria.
Tool digit X extension has access. Digital A11Y tablet. Dialog. Visited link table with row 2 aria usage toggle. Row 1 aria toggle pressed. Test page. Dialog. Visit tool test list with 2 items list with 2 items bullet. First name edit enter full name. Last name. Last name edit enter last name aria label equals last name.
If you use the aria bookmarklet, it will show the aria. If I use even now, if I use Axe, suppose.
Dev alert dev tools is doc to main tool. Tab select toggle button not panels tab control menu X dev tool tab X alert cat frame main landmark scan all of my page button analyzing your page tab guided tests test name heading level 2 test you total issues heading level 2 link total issues 12
So it says total issues 12. Let's see what are they.
complementary landmark best practices switch on
I
off
switched off.
you must save your test export button toggle collapse button expanded ID attribute value must be unique 1 region ID attribute value must be unique 1 button collapsed tool drawer complementary land X dev tools panel property page frame clickable main landmark ID attribute expanded
Let's see one.
element location if frame border equals 0 allow transparency equals true scrolling equals yes nth child 1 button inspect element ID attribute value must be unique less if frame style equals ID equals WPNT notes if frame
No, okay, this is nothing, David.
test page bullet digital A11 last name
You see that there is no ensure form fields have label issue anymore in the Axe also. And both screen readers, NVDA and JAWS, will read this if you use ARIA label. So that's why any page when you start on assessment or an audit, run AX first, because it will give you a holistic overview of what a kind of bugs you will be able to encounter while you're testing. Then while doing screen reader checks, you can confirm them. Any questions still here?
Raghav, I have a couple of questions. Okay.
Yes.
Here, in the first example, we haven't taken last name, like label is deleted.
Oh, I
Okay.
put
And
back the
also,
label. I put back the.
yeah, you put back the label. Just I'm asking the previous example.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so label is missing last name. Okay.
Yes.
And there is no. Okay. Then
There's no
it is
visible
going.
label.
Yeah, there is no visible label. It is a failure. Correct.
Yes. Yes.
Because cognitive
Pla
people. Label.
placeholder cannot be used as a visible label.
Okay.
That's
So yeah, here
not.
association is yeah, correct. Understood. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, so association we did not provide using for and ID. We used ARIA label. So still it is pass.
Okay.
So, but just visually, before it was not visible. So, after applying ARIA, will it be visible or even it
Okay,
won't?
we have to put the visible label all the time. We have to put it. ARIA label is only for the text field. I can still remove last name completely visibly and put it
Okay.
only for the screen reader, that last name as ARIA label. Because of that, it will not become visible, definitely.
Okay.
And
Got it.
what happens is placeholders here, NVIDIA is reading placeholders. Sometimes some browsers and screen readers will not read placeholders. If you remember how JAWS was picking up the other thing, placeholders are not read by all screen readers.
Um, so, this one can be used when there is something to be highlighted only for screen reader users, not for
Yes,
visible. Okay. Yeah.
visible. It's only programmatic. It is not visible in the front end. It is programmatic in the back end, like in the DOM structure, it will come.
Mhm. This was very helpful, Raghava. There was a couple of things I was just going through at work, so this was helpful.
Yeah.
I'm just understanding what's the background and how it is working.
Yes.
So yeah. Raghav, here, if we are not giving, if we are not associating with any label, or if we are not providing a programmatical label, so it is a failure 2.4.6, correct?
No, don't
No.
go with the checkpoint. We'll come to checkpoints later,
Okay. Okay.
Srinivas, because some of them here are very new. They don't know the checkpoints. So what we will
Got
do
it.
is we understand the fundamentals. Then
Got it.
when we do a real deep dive into WCAG conformance type of thing, I will just tell and you'll understand where all what is failing.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So Raghav, without providing ARIA label,
Mhm.
so how will be the label visible?
Oh, visible label you have to write either div span or label tag. Somehow you have to put it there. ARIA
Okay.
label is not for visible this thing. I'll show the ARIA label.
Desktop.
I'll show you the code.
Outlook. Firefox 1. Edit. Page test. Less label for equals L2 greater last name. Not in a table cell.
Oops.
Less input. Less label for less input type equals text ID equals L1 placeholder equals enter full name greater. Less label for equals L2 greater last name less slash label greater.
You see, I have the last name visibly here.
Less input type equals text ID equals L3 placeholder equals enter last name ARIA label equals last name greater.
Can I add something here, Raghavan? Rashmi here.
Hi, Rashmi. Yes.
Yeah. So, if you look at the ARIA labels here, one good use will be like there is close button on the model dialog box. Okay, so
No,
suppose X
Rashmi,
is there.
everyone, there
Okay,
are new people here. Let's not go there.
okay,
We'll come to
okay.
those slowly one by one. Uh,
Hmm.
these are very fundamentals for some people here.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Like I want to understand why we given ARIA label here. So as I
Okay.
mentioned, I'm very new to this concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we gave the ARIA label. I don't want to confuse anyone with any other form fields. We are going one form field way. So we'll come to the buttons thing also later, Rashmi.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. So we understood why we are using ARIA label, correct? Now, if you have a here I have last name.
Less label for equals L2 greater last name less slash label greater. Less input type equals text ID equals
So I will give ID
less
equals,
type text ID L3
we give L3. We did not associate it.
quote L3
I'll give
quote
2.
2.
Now we gave a for equal to L2, ID equal to L2. We associated it, but we are also using ARIA label.
Placeholder equals enter. Last name aria. Label equals last name greater.
Last name.
Space T. Space N A M E. Quote. Space I S space N O T space M U S T.
So I said last name is not must in ARIA label. Okay. ARIA label, I give last name is not must. Okay. We'll see what screen reader will do now.
Test page bullet digital A11Y Google Chrome. Test page bullet digital A11Y. Content info list with out of list banner landmark main landmark test page breadcrumbs author image Raghavendra first name edit enter full name blank.
This we did not touch, correct? We left it enter full name. That is placeholder, first name, label.
Last name edit enter last name blank.
Last name, enter last name. But
Yes.
Content info landmark list with
okay,
main land.
this is with NVDA. Let's see with JAWS.
Run dialog JASS. Exit NVDA dialog.
JAWS. Edit page. Text right quote single left quote. Main region. Last name link. Enter last name. Main region. First name edit enter full name. Type of text. Last name edit enter last name. Type of text. Edit page left quote. Text page right quote single left quote. Less label for equals quote L2 quote greater last name less slash label greater. Less input type equals quote text quote ID equals quote L2 quote placeholder equals quote enter last name quote dash label equals quote last name is spelled must quote greater. N blank greater quote T S U M space M U S T quote. Number on number off virtual cursor.
Okay.
Edit page left expand title new document design library save draft button. Enter. Edit page left quote text page right quote single left pointing handle. Main region. Last name edit enter last name. Type of text. F5. Test page full digital 5. Test page full digital 11. Test page full digital 11. Test page full digital 11Y. Edit search. Search button. Edit enter full name last enter. First name. First name. Enter full name. Last name is must edit enter last name. Type of text. Slower. 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 Slower.
I'm slowing it.
First name edit. Enter full name. Type in text. Last name is must edit. Enter last name. Type in text.
Listen carefully.
Last name is must edit. Enter last name. Type in text.
Last name is not must. I think one extra O came.
Last name is must edit. Enter last name. Type in text.
Okay, now we'll do we'll
Unloading
listen
enter.
with NVDA. What we'll see.
Welcome to NV. OK button. Test page. First name edit enter full name blank. Last name is must edit enter last name blank. First name edit enter full name blank. Last name is must edit enter last name blank.
You understood what is happening? Even though we associated the label using for and ID here, the ARIA label that we gave overwrites anything else that is there visually.
Yeah. Got it.
Everyone clear? ARIA label takes precedence over any label technique. I think there's ARIA label and ARIA labeled by. We'll cover ARIA labeled by in the next session. And we did the explicit, we'll do the implicit, we'll learn about the title attribute also in the next session. And then we'll go to other form controls. Any questions?
Sure.
Okay, just my understanding is if you are not able to associate label and form field, then we can use ARIA label or ARIA labeled by. Correct?
Yes.
Understood. Thank
There
you.
are multiple. You can use foreign ID. You can use ARIA labeled by title. So even if I do tablets now, suppose.
Toolbar. U but show extend digital A11Y dialog. Table row 3 images top row 4 forms pressed. Test page bullet digit content info landmark main land less label 4 leaf clover equals L2 greater last name less slash label greater less input ID button equals L2 greater.
So if you see, we associated the label here, but still ARIA label takes precedence over here.
Correct.
Any accessible name computation, ARIA label will override that.
Understood.
Okay. I'll stop the recording now.
If you like the video, do like and subscribe.